There was a time in America when Sunday meant one thing. You came home, you sat down, and dinner was already on the stove. That smell, pot roast, biscuits, something with onions going since morning, that was America, every Sunday, without exception. Then one day it stopped. No announcement, no farewell dinner. The Sunday table just quietly disappeared. Today we are finding those dishes, 20 Sunday dinners that defined American family life and somehow vanished completely. By the time we reach number 1, you are going to want to call someone you love and invite them to Sunday dinner. Context. Growing up, Sunday dinners meant everything to me. And I think most of you know exactly what I mean. Sunday was the busiest day of the week, church in the morning, family visiting, kids running around burning every calorie they had. By the afternoon, you were starving, and you knew something was already cooking. You could smell it before you walked through the door. That smell was the whole promise of Sunday. It was not just a meal, it was the one moment the whole family sat down together with nowhere else to be. And the women who made it, starting Saturday night, back in the kitchen before sunrise Sunday morning, they understood something we are only now starting to realize we lost. They understood that feeding people is not a chore. It is how you tell them they matter. Then the 1960s came. Life got faster, fast food arrived, and the Sunday dinner table slowly lost its claim on the week. These are the 20 dishes it took with it. Let's count them down. Number 20. Sunday gravy. We are starting this list with a debate. In Italian-American households from New York to Chicago to San Francisco, Sunday dinner meant one thing: the pot on the stove. Is it gravy or is it sauce? This debate has been going on in Italian-American kitchens for generations, and I am not going to be the one to settle it. If your family called it gravy, that is what it was. If your family called it sauce, that is what it was. And if you watched our Italian immigrant video, link is in the description, you already know this debate runs deep. The comments on that video were on fire about this very question. So we are bringing it back, gravy or sauce. Drop your answer in the comments right now. Whatever you called it, it was the same magnificent thing. A slow-cooked tomato base, going since Saturday night with meatballs and sausage and braciole and pork ribs simmering for hours until the meat fell apart and the sauce turned deep red and rich and complex in a way that 30-minute jarred anything cannot approach. In the Bensonhurst neighborhood of Brooklyn, the Caruso family gathered every Sunday at the home of grandmother Maria Caruso from 1948 through 1969, sometimes 20 people. The pot started Saturday night. Maria's daughter said that when her mother died in 1974 and the Sunday gatherings stopped, it felt like the whole block had lost something. Gravy or sauce, still up for debate. What it meant on a Sunday afternoon, not up for debate at all. Number 19, pot roast with vegetables. A chuck roast seared in a Dutch oven until a dark crust formed on every side. Onions, carrots, potatoes and celery added around it. Beef broth, lid on, into the oven at 300 degrees for 3 hours. 3 hours and the cheapest cut in the butcher's case transformed into something that fell apart at the touch of a fork, with a rich dark gravy that formed itself from the drippings. In Columbus, Ohio, a woman named Ruth Harding made pot roast every Sunday from 1947 until 1971. 24 years. The same Dutch oven, the same cut of beef, the same 3-hour window while the family was at church. Her daughter said the smell of a pot roast in the oven still makes her feel like it is Sunday afternoon in 1958, and everything is exactly as it should be. The pot roast did not disappear because it stopped being good. It disappeared because nobody had 3 hours on a Sunday anymore. And number 18, baked ham with pineapple. The glazed ham on a platter. The pineapple rings held in place with maraschino cherries. The whole thing shining under the dining room light. A bone-in ham glazed with brown sugar, pineapple juice, Dijon mustard, and cloves. Baked low and slow until the glaze caramelized into something between candy and meat. In suburban Detroit, a woman named Dorothy Kowalski made baked ham with pineapple the first Sunday of every month from 1952 through 1967. The ham was her way of saying, "We worked hard this month. We deserve something that looks like a celebration." Food writers in the 1970s dismissed the pineapple ham as tacky, but the families who ate it every month did not think it was tacky. They thought it was Sunday. Number 17. Creamed corn. Not the kind from a can. A fresh corn at the peak of summer, scraped into a cast-iron skillet with butter, cream, salt, and a pinch of sugar, stirred until it thickened into something sweet and rich that no canned product has ever matched. In rural Indiana, a farmer's wife named Edna Bricker made creamed corn every Sunday from July through September. Her grandchildren drove in from Indianapolis on those summer Sundays specifically for the creamed corn. Not the pot roast, the creamed corn. None of the preserved versions ever came close to Edna Bricker's July corn. Some things only exist in their season and in the hands of the person who makes them. Number 16. Chicken and dumplings. The Sunday dinner for the cold months. A whole chicken simmered for hours until the broth turned gold and rich. Then the dumplings. Flour, baking powder, salt, butter, and milk, all mixed just until combined, dropped by spoonfuls onto the simmering broth. Lid on, 12 minutes, no peeking. In eastern Tennessee, a woman named Bessie Mae Collins made chicken and dumplings every Sunday from November through March for 40 years. Her granddaughter has been trying to recreate her grandmother's dumplings for 30 years. She can get close, she cannot get there. Close is not the same as Bessie Mae's kitchen on a February Sunday. Number 15. Deviled eggs. Before Sunday dinner officially began, there was the pre-dinner spread, and no pre-dinner spread in mid-century America was complete without deviled eggs. Yolks mashed with mayonnaise, mustard, sweet pickle relish, salt, and a dash of hot sauce. Piped back into the whites, dusted with paprika. Arranged on the family's special deviled egg plate that every American family owned in the 1950s and 1960s. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, a woman named Helen Morrison brought deviled eggs to every Sunday dinner from 1951 through 1979. 4 dozen at a time, gone before dinner hit the table. The deviled egg was not a recipe. It was the announcement that Sunday had officially begun. Number 14. Pot liquor and cornbread. Pot liquor is the liquid left in the pot after cooking collard greens, turnip greens, or mustard greens low and slow with a ham hock. Dark, smoky, intensely savory. The correct thing to do with it is tear a piece of cornbread and soak up every drop. In rural Georgia, Sunday dinner for the Johnson family meant collard greens that started cooking Saturday afternoon. The youngest children were given the pot liquor and cornbread first, before the meat, before anything else, because the adults knew it was the most nourishing thing on the table. Pot liquor and cornbread sounds like a side dish. For the families who ate it every Sunday, it was the foundation of the week. Number 13. Biscuits and sausage gravy. In the South and Appalachia, Sunday dinner sometimes started at noon, and nothing defined that table more than biscuits and sausage gravy. Biscuits made from scratch. Sausage gravy thick, rich, and assertively peppery. Poured over the split biscuits and eaten immediately. In Pikeville, Kentucky, a woman named May Alice Combs made biscuits and sausage gravy every Sunday morning for 40 years. Legendary in a 10-mile radius. She never measured anything. When her granddaughter asked her to write down the recipe, May Alice held up her hands. She said the recipe was in there, pointing to her palms, not to a card, not to a book. The most important recipes in American history were never written down. They lived in the hands of the people who made them. Number 12. Macaroni and cheese from scratch. Not the blue box, sharp cheddar grated by hand. A real bechamel, assembled in a casserole dish topped with buttered breadcrumbs, baked until golden and bubbling with crispy caramelized edges that everyone at the table wanted. In Baltimore, Maryland, baked macaroni and cheese is so embedded in Black Sunday dinner tradition, it is considered as essential as any main course. Not optional, required. A woman named Clara Thompson made it every Sunday for 31 years. 3 generations of her family still make it from her laminated index card. When the blue box appeared, it offered speed. What it could not offer was Clara Thompson's golden crust and sharp cheddar depth. It was never a substitute. It was just faster. Number 11. Stuffed bell peppers. The Sunday dinner of the immigrant kitchen. Polish families made it one way, Hungarian families another, Italian families their own way. but always the same idea: a pepper filled with ground beef, rice, onion, garlic, tomatoes, and the herbs that reflected the family's heritage, baked with tomato sauce poured over. In Cleveland, Ohio, a woman named Erzsébet Kovács made stuffed bell peppers every Sunday using a recipe she had brought from Budapest in 1936. Her daughter was born in Cleveland and still makes them today. And the recipe has drifted slightly over 2 generations. The love that goes into them has not drifted at all. Number 10. Sweet potato pie. Sweet potato pie is not pumpkin pie. They are not the same dish. The people who grew up eating sweet potato pie, made by someone who knew what they were doing, will tell you without hesitation it is the superior dessert. Smoother, sweeter, more complex. In Jackson, Mississippi, a woman named Bessie Johnson made 2 sweet potato pies every Sunday. One for the family dinner, one for whoever might stop by in the afternoon. Someone always stopped by. Sweet potato pie made the way Bessie Johnson made it is one of the great desserts in American culinary history. Most Americans have never tasted it. Number 9. Sunday meatloaf. Ground beef mixed with sautéed onions, breadcrumbs soaked in milk, eggs, in Worcestershire sauce, salt and herbs. Topped with a ketchup, brown sugar and dry mustard glaze that caramelized into something sweet and tangy. Baked at 350 degrees for an hour. In suburban Chicago, a woman named Virginia Kowalski made Sunday meatloaf every week for 23 years. Her neighbors knew what day it was by the smell from her kitchen. The leftover meatloaf became Monday's cold sandwich on white bread with mustard. Her son said the cold sandwich was better than the hot meatloaf. He may have been right, but neither of them exists anymore. Number 8. Butter beans and ham. Large dried lima beans cooked long and slow with a ham hock until the beans swelled and the broth turned smoky and sweet. Served with cornbread, always with cornbread. The grandmother of the Gadsden family in coastal South Carolina, Ida Gadsden, he said butter beans and ham was the taste of home. Not a specific home, home as a feeling. There are certain combinations of simple ingredients cooked long and slow that produce something no other method can approach. The families who ate it every Sunday knew that. They just called it Sunday. Number 7. Creamed chicken on biscuits. A thick white sauce filled with chunks of cooked chicken and peas poured over split baking powder biscuits. Elegant without being expensive. A modest amount of chicken made to taste like a Sunday occasion through the transformation of a cream sauce. In Portland, Oregon, a woman named Frances Webb made it every Sunday throughout the war years and continued for 15 years after the war ended because her children refused to let her stop. The skill those women developed of making the modest feel generous, the simple feel special, is worth more than any specific recipe. Number 6. Black-eyed peas and rice. In the low country of South Carolina and Georgia, and in African American communities across the South, black-eyed peas and rice was not just Sunday dinner. It was a statement of cultural identity stretching back centuries to the West African food traditions that enslaved people carried to America and preserved despite everything. Dried black-eyed peas cooked with smoked pork until creamy and served over white rice. In its simplest form, it is a 2-ingredient dish. In its deepest form, it is 300 years of history in a bowl. Profound cultural significance in an utterly humble package. That is the essence of what Sunday dinner was. Number 5. Lemon icebox pie. The Sunday dessert that required no oven in the heat of a southern summer. A graham cracker crust filled with sweetened condensed milk, fresh lemon juice, and egg yolks that set firm in the refrigerator without any baking, topped with whipped cream. In Mobile, Alabama, Sunday dinner moved to the screened porch in June. And on that porch table, after everything else, there was always a lemon icebox pie. A woman named Lula Mae Patterson made it every summer Sunday for 25 years. On a hot Alabama Sunday afternoon with a glass of sweet tea, that pie was not a dessert. It was a mercy. Number 4. Apple cake. In the apple country of the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, and the Upper Midwest, the Sunday cake was apple cake. Moist and dense with fresh apples folded into the batter, seasoned with cinnamon and nutmeg and allspice, finished with a brown sugar glaze. In upstate New York, a woman named Agnes Fitzgerald made apple cake every Sunday from late September through November, using Cortland apples specifically. Her family still argues about whether it was the apples or her technique. It was both. It was always both. The ingredient and the person who understood it. Separate them and you lose the dish entirely. Number 3. Scalloped potatoes. Raw potatoes sliced thin, layered in a buttered baking dish with onions, a bechamel sauce poured over, sharp cheddar on top, baked until golden and bubbling with caramelized edges. In Akron, Ohio, a woman named Margaret Novak made scalloped potatoes every Sunday for 22 years. Her recipe was written on an index card in her kitchen drawer. Her daughter still has the card. The handwriting is faded now. She says it tastes right, but it does not taste like Sunday at her mother's table. Nothing ever quite does. Number 2. Pot roast gravy on mashed potatoes. I want to talk specifically about the gravy, the drippings from the beef, the dissolved collagen from the connective tissue, the caramelized sugars from the onions and carrots, all of it combining into a dark, rich, deeply savory liquid poured over real mashed potatoes, beaten with butter and warm cream until smooth. That gravy could not be rushed. It required the full 3 hours of the roast. It required someone who knew how to finish it. That knowledge lived in the person, not in a recipe. Today you can buy jarred gravy in any grocery store. It shares a category name with what Ruth Harding made every Sunday in Columbus, Ohio. It shares almost nothing else. Number 1. The table itself. For number 1, I am not going to give you a recipe. I am going to give you what every recipe on this list was always in service of. The table. The Sunday dinner table was the most important piece of furniture in the house. Not the television, not the sofa, the table, where 3 generations sat down together once a week without exception, where the tablecloth came out, where the good dishes came out, where a woman had spent 2 days producing the food that sat on it, not because anyone required her to, but because the Sunday table was how she said, "You matter. We are a family. Come sit down." That is what every dish on this list was saying. I made this for you. Sit down. We have time. Why can't I taste that anymore? The honest answer is the food is still possible. Every recipe on this list can be made today. What is harder to find is the Sunday. The specific agreement that said this day is different. This day we stop. This day we sit down together. That agreement is what we lost. Not the recipes. But you could make it again. Any Sunday. Make the pot roast, set the good dishes. Call the people you love and tell them dinner is at 1 o'clock and you expect them there. Give them what every person on this list gave their family every week. A table. A meal. The message that says, I made this for you. You are worth the time. Sit down. Why can't I taste that anymore? You can. Start this Sunday. Outro. If your family had a Sunday dinner tradition, a specific dish, a specific smell that meant Sunday was real, drop it in the comments right now, because those recipes and those memories are the most important food history there is. That is the flavor we are looking for on this channel every single week. This is Forgotten Flavors of America. Why can't I taste that anymore? I'm Forgotten Flavors of America, and I'll see you at the table.